Greetings, YouTube. Time for episode 8 of the 4,000 question challenge. What early lesson from childhood have you continued to follow throughout life? I'm beating a dead drum here, but the psychological and emotional scars of childhood have stuck with me. So I'm 54 and I'm still dealing with them. So those are the lessons I learned. Don't trust adults. How about that? That's a lesson I learned. Do you have any serious accidents as a child? Well, I had pneumonia when I was 3. They didn't think I was going to make it. Mauled by a dog. Anything else I can think of that was serious? I don't know. I don't think I got any. I guess general stupid things that children do when they're younger. I guess that might be it. I don't know. I'm not positive. Okay, now we have one of those little groups of questions, which is all starts with one, and then there are follow-up ends to each question. So, do you remember? And now there's going to be 8 of those because I'm doing 10 questions per video. Do you remember your bedtime rituals? Not really. What you dreamed of being when you grew up? I know when I was a child at one point I wanted to be Speed Racer, but no. As soon as I really began to understand what future meant, I didn't really think I had one. So, do you remember your idols? Speed Racer, I guess. One time, strangely, Eisenhower. Maybe Elvis. Do you remember a gift that excuse me, you made for someone? No, I don't. In fact, I don't know, about a decade, 12 years ago, my father gave me a bunch of stuff that I apparently had produced as a child, and it was like all these like cards and pictures and stuff that I had made for him when I was a kid, and I had zero memory of them. Do you remember an incident in a school lunchroom? Incident in the school lunchroom specific. I remember a food fight once, I think. Yeah, I think I might have remembered a food fight, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Anything else I can remember? Just the general torments and terrorizations that we visited upon each other, perhaps. Do you remember your chores? I vacuumed and dusted when I was a kid, if I remember correctly. It's probably one of the reasons I despise doing both of those tasks as an adult. Do you remember who told you about the birds and the bees? Yes, in fact, I know specifically who told me about the birds and the bees. It was my father during a car ride, and if humanity were required to follow the guidelines my father gave me, our species would have died out millennia ago. Do you remember what you daydreamt about? Pretty much they were all power fantasies that involved me not being in a household with an abusive drunk, that allowed me to be able to apply justice to the world. Was one of the reasons I gravitated towards superheroes so strongly. But yeah, I pretty much still have just far more sophisticated power fantasies now as an adult. So that was the last question for episode 8. Hope you have enjoyed it. I'm going to have to pick up with more of this section of questions for the next video, because again, I did not complete it because I'm doing them 10 at a time and not necessarily how they fall in the book. Just remind me, when I get to the end of this chapter, it's going to be a pain in the butt. I may have to combine chapters, one chapter ending and one chapter beginning. We'll see what happens, I guess. Maybe if the author is smart, maybe she did them in nice even groups of 10. That would be nice.